All right. So with that, it's 9:04. I think we can go ahead and get started. Jess, do you want to kick it off for us?
Sure, I'll kick it off. So welcome everybody. I just want to introduce myself. I am Jessica with ShortStack, and I've been with the company about 8 years. I'm the customer success strategist, meaning that I just do my best to help our new users learn the ropes. And I am joined by my colleague, Adam.
Hey, everybody. I'm the sales vice president for ShortStack. Chances are some of you may have talked to me, whether it was, initial questions about the platform or depending on the plan that you're on, you have been reaching out to me with questions. So just thank you so much for joining. Super excited to tell you guys about our new features. And that's really a big thing that we're going for this year, just to, let you guys in on something that we are trying to come out with some really great new templates, new features. I might even highlight one today that is available, but we haven't made a big push on it yet. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah. So Jess, did you want to tackle anything else? Or do you want me to start the video?
Really quick, before you start that video, I just want to mention why we have a video. So what we do in these trainings is we do have a chunk of this training that's a pre-recorded, and we do that for, it just makes a really clean presentation, so we're not, fumbling around or whatever. So we have a pre-recorded chunk of the video, and then, or the training, which is a video, and then that also helps us distribute the training to all of you afterwards really easily and really quickly. So we're just going to go ahead and play the video, but while it's playing, when you think of questions, click on the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen, and you can type your questions in there. And then, of course, since we have you here live, we're going to answer all those questions for you right now. Or right here on this training. So anyway, yeah, think of questions, type them in the Q&A icon, and we'll chat again after the video.
Awesome.
ShortStack's developers have been hard at work adding the feature updates you all have been asking for. In this training, we'll go over some of our most recent form improvements and other new additions, including list fields, categories, URL redirects, and page navigation, just to name a few. ShortStack forms have had a number of upgrades. Now, add a list field to your form to display a drop-down list. There are a number of customization options, including using checkboxes or radio buttons. You can also offer the ability to choose multiple selections. We've made it easier to add categories to your contests. Participants can select a category they'd like their entry to be added to. Then, use filters in the entry display widget to filter your list by each category. A popular feature requested by users over the years has been a URL redirect after form submit. Now, drive traffic from your contest to an external web page. This could be a payment gateway, online store, or to the next destination in your conversion funnel. Beyond building forms, there are a number of other features we've added as well. For starters, we've added a new and powerful way to combat against contest cheating. Require an email address verification to vote. Voters will be prompted to submit their email address when clicking the vote icon in an entry. If there's a lot of content within your page, you can use a paging widget to create website-like navigation for a better user experience. A paging widget works with the content you place in containers. Using a paging widget will help you set up this type of navigation in just a few steps. Our longtime ShortStack users will be excited about this next one. If you like to keep your list of campaigns nice and tidy, archive them, view archived campaigns, and easily restore them at any point. Now that you've seen some of these features in action, Adam's going to show you how to set them up in ShortStack.
All right, so what I want to talk about first is our new form features. The first one that I want to touch on is our form redirect after successful submission. So the way you set this up is you go into the form widget, and then the actual form widget settings. So there's, with the form widget, there's two different settings. There's the form widget settings, and then there's the form designer. Make sure you go into the form widget settings. And then on the left-hand side, you're going to see a section that is called after submission. Well, actually after submit. And then the very first feature at the top, it says do not redirect to another URL. So that's our default setting. If I click on the do not redirect, it'll change it to redirect to another URL. Then right below, you put in the URL that you want people to go to after they successfully fill out the form. So make sure that you don't have additional content that you want people to see after they fill out the form, because they're not going to see it. They're going to go right to that URL after they fill out the form. The next form feature that I want to talk about is a new field that you can add to your form. So go into the form designer, then go down to custom, and you will see it is called list. When you add this, it's going to default to a drop down. And like any other field, you can type right into it. And then on the right hand side, you'll see some additional options that this field provides. So at the very top, you'll see that it says drop down or list. And so if you switch your current layout to multiple selections, then instead of a drop down, it'll just turn into a list where you just select each one that you want to select for your submission. And then the next option is radios or checkboxes. And then if you scroll down, you have the choices area. You can type into here or in the field itself in the middle area of your screen. Now, another thing that we've done here is you can copy and paste a list of choices and then paste that into the area here. So now you don't have to type everything out individually. And then this provides all the other options, field points. If you want to toggle between the two different options, so in this case it's radios or checkboxes, select yes on the allow multiple selections, and then that'll change it to multiple checkboxes. And then you can set a minimum or maximum number of selections that an individual can make. So that field, in a way, we've consolidated our options, but then also provided many more options as well. Another new feature, or I should say field, that we've added to our forms is the category field. So this category field, you add it in, and a use case for this is, let's say you're going to do a pet photo contest, and you wanted people to submit their photo of either their dog, cat, or other into one of the categories. So everyone fills out the same form, but then they select the category that makes the most sense or matches the photo that they're submitting. So you change out your categories to dog, cat, or other, and you can add additional categories as well. So that's front-facing at the moment. The other thing that the category field allows you to do is when you go into the back end of ShortStack in the entries area, you would filter onto your list that has a category in it, and then on the left-hand side towards the bottom, you'll see a category option. You open this up, and then you will see all the different categories that are a part of that list. Select cat, for instance, and then we'll filter all the entries in that one list to only show cats. Okay, so the other thing that category field allows you to do is it allows your voters or just visitors to your campaign who want to see the entries that were collected to filter the entry widget based on the category. Now, there's actually quite a few steps that go into this, but to save you time, we've created a category vote contest template. So I would recommend starting there. It comes with its own video that goes over how to set all of this up. That was actually created by Jessica. Thanks for doing that, Jess. And if you know ahead of time that you want to do categories on your form, on your form, then I would recommend starting with that template because it's going to have all the setup in place already. The other new feature that the voting category vote template provides you with is our paging widget. And that's how it makes it work. The paging widget allows you to essentially create different pages within your landing page. And the URL will actually change too, which also allows your participants to target a specific URL. So if you wanted to say, hey, everyone that wants to check out our cat entries and vote on them, here's the URL for it. They click on that URL and then it'll take them right to that campaign and show them that page within your landing page. Now, I'm saying page a lot and I realize that, and my apologies, but only real way that I can explain it. But we will go over the voting category template during our live portion of our webinar, because it'll be much easier to do that visually with everyone here. And then for those of you that are watching this recorded video, wait towards the end of this webinar or skip ahead if you want to check that out. All right, Now, since we're talking voting, another feature that we have added is our email to vote feature. The way this works, it'll be available within the restrictions area of the entry widget, and you set it up by clicking the drop down of the restriction options that you want to do, go down to email to vote, and then you'll see a little email option on the right hand side. You have to create an email. And the way it works for the participant is they click on the vote button and then they enter in their email address. We then send them the email that you would have set up, and in that email will be a unique code. They enter that unique code in the spot on the campaign where they are right now. And if the code matches what we just sent, then we will allow their vote to go through. So this requires people to have a valid email address. A bot couldn't do it. However, we do use Google reCAPTCHA to battle with bots. But it also deters people from cheating where, they're using different IP addresses. And, of course, they could use maybe more than one email address, but I seriously doubt they're going to do it more than 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times because that's going to be a lot of work. So this is what we feel like our most restrictive voting feature that you can use, and is really going to help, especially if you're going to have voting dictate the final winner in a big ticket prize type of contest. Now, another campaign, it is kind of a campaign feature. Another feature that we've added is our archive campaign feature. So this is available in the campaigns section of your ShortStack account. This is especially going to be great for those of you who have created many campaigns. So what you can do, there's two ways to archive a campaign. If you want to do an individual campaign, on the right-hand side, you'll see a little icon on the far right of your campaign in that list. Click that, and then you'll see Archive. Select it, and now the campaign is gone from that active view. To bulk archive campaigns, click on each individual campaign in the white space. It'll turn gray, and then at the top, you can click Archive, and then that will archive all the campaigns that you've selected. Now, if you wanted to see your archive campaigns, those will be available on the left-hand side. There will be a filter option towards the bottom. It'll say Archive. Select it, and then you'll see all the campaigns that you've archived. Now, you can go the reverse too. If you needed to bring a campaign out from archive and back into active, just take one of those two steps that I just mentioned. And then finally, we have our tracking widget. So the tracking widget is something that you can add into your campaign, and it allows you to easily connect your Facebook Pixel or Google Analytics or Google Analytics 4 if you're using that already. And it allows you to connect those three items to your campaign so you can more effectively track your analytics. You can track your ad performance with Facebook. And we're going to be adding more to the tracking widget over time, but it's super easy to use. Just add the tracking widget to your campaign, and then you'll see the three options available at the moment. Select the one you want to use, then go to the next step on the left-hand side. And if, for instance, you're doing Facebook, it'll ask you for the Pixel ID, place it in there, and then go to the next section on the left-hand side, and we'll ask you which items you want us to track. So these steps are very similar for Facebook and Google Analytics. Google Analytics 4 is a little bit different. I would implore you to check that out and see if it makes sense for your own analytics purposes. And with that, I think I'm going to take it back over to Jess.
Thanks, Adam. The great news about these new features is that they're available on all plans. Now, take note of the links on the screen. This is where you can get in touch with us while you're setting up these features on your own and have questions. But of course, while we have you here, we'd love to answer any questions that you have about these new ShortStack features.
All right. Thank you, Jessica, for putting together that fantastic video.
Sure thing.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm sharing my screen. I'm inside my ShortStack account. As mentioned in the video, I'm going to jump into our new category vote template, so then we can highlight the paging features and the category as well, because those two really kind of go hand in hand in how they get set up. And then along the way, if anybody has questions, feel free to put that in the Q&A area, which it looks like we have a question. And maybe some of you told us where you guys are based out of. So before I start sharing, or before I start going into the builder, I just want to open up my panel here so I can see the Q&A and make sure I'm answering all the questions. All right, that wasn't much of a question. Just mentioned that our video is too blurry. Hopefully that wasn't the case for all of you. Apologies if it was.
And if it
So
was, actually, when we put this training together and send it out afterwards, I use the original video in place of this Zoom recorded video, so it'll be crystal clear. So if you want to review this training afterwards, it'll be a little bit better quality if it was blurry for you on your end.
Okay, but good to know. Thank you, Jessica. And then we'll go into the chat real quick. Oh, hey, we got someone out of Las Vegas, Florida Keys, and then and Jessica saw that was from Vegas, so she wanted to do a little shout out. Awesome. Okay, so feel free, go into the Q&A, ask us questions, and it could be about anything that we talked about, or if you just have a question about anything else short stack related. Since we're all on here together, you're welcome to pick our brains. So I'm going to create a new campaign, and then I'm going to open up the category vote template. So we'll just allow our template gallery to load here. There we go. And I'm going to go to voting. We'll scroll down, and well, it looks like maybe we haven't categorized that under voting yet. So we'll make sure that that gets done. So we'll just go down to browse all, and then we'll grab that category vote template here. So there's our category vote contest template. I'm going to say use this template. Now with any of our templates, we try to provide resources and videos. So at any time, you can always rewatch this one if you want, or you can go into the template area here, and then the template instructions will open up, and then you'll be able to watch the video that we've created specifically for this template. So don't feel like you need to learn and know everything right now, because this is your one shot. We make sure that all that we provide is available at any time to you. And let me close this up. There we go. I wanted to expand this a little bit. So then that way you would be able to see the navigation up here along the top. Now, real quick, just so you can see what this is going to look like. This navigation is using our two features, the category feature and the paging feature. So the navigation is set up using the new paging. And so if I click category 1, then that content will update. And then if I go category 2, category 3, so on and so forth, the content will update. And it typically actually doesn't do that in the builder, but it will allow your participants to go through and say, oh, okay, I only want to check out category 1, or I only want to check out category 2. So it gives them the ability to really be able to focus on one specific item versus having to see it all. So, I go category 1, and now I'm seeing the cutest dog pics. Now there's no entries to be seen because, we started with a new list, so I haven't entered anything. But then I come back up here and I can go home, and now I'm back on that front page. The other thing, and we touched on it in the video, you know what? I'm going to publish this campaign so you can see it. So we'll publish it as a landing page. Give it a minute to load. There we go. So if I go to the live campaign, up here at the top, if I go category 1, look at the URL. The URL is updated. It still shows the primary URL for this campaign, but now we've added category 1. Now this here can be changed based on how you name your paging, which I'll mention I'll show you in just a minute. But the advantage of this is I can now promote a specific page within my campaign. So whether you're doing it based on categories, or maybe you have an enter page, a voting page, a prize page, but it's all under the same URL, you can now direct your ads or sharing or whatever it might be, so people can come to the very specific spot on your campaign that you want them to go to. So it really opens up your ability to just target different areas versus it's just one URL, and you're trying to make sure that, or at least you're hoping that they can get to where you want them to go. Now you can guarantee that that will happen. So let's go back into the builder. Now, this up here, we've set it up with our navbar widget. So if I open this up, you'll see that, we have home, category 1, category 2, category 3. And in fact, we need to make a quick update here because I think that's connected to the wrong item. So you'll see that the home category is connected to container 12, and then category 1 is connected to category 1. And this can be changed. If I go in here, or at least I should be able to go into there. Okay, use title from the container 6 widget. So you just change that title and you'll be all set. So it's very straightforward, very easy to be able to do that. I can go add link, and then I can also change it there as well. So, if you put in something that you want to update, you can always remove it. And then I'll add a new link, and then I'll go category 3 or whatever you want to name it. Now this link text is what shows up, and I'll go back into this live one. This link text is what shows up here. So it said category 3, but if I had to change this to say, other animal, and then we say take action, and then you can either select the action here, or in that link text, if you change it specific to the container, then it'll link to there. So, there's a lot of options with this feature. So, you can basically do whatever you want. So we'll go ahead and cancel out of that. And then since I'm in the nav bar area, what I'm going to do is I'll highlight our ability to show other content. So as you can see, we have the Facebook icon, Twitter icon, Instagram icon. So you can link to these as well, and then stick the icon or whatever icon you'd like. So it just kind of gives you a more formal website feel, if you will, especially if you're trying to mimic your own website. All right, so if I come down here, you will see that we have our category 1 container. Now, if I close this, you'll see that everything within there is as I'm saying, is within this category area. So this would all contain category 1 content. So the headline, the vote text, category 1 vote. Now to circle back to our category features, if I open up the entry widget here, on the left-hand side, as you saw in our video, you'd go down to filtering, and then you'd say filter by category. So this entry widget, we basically are now allowing you to either show all your entries collected, or if you're using our category feature in the list, you can now say, okay, if you had the 3 categories like we have here of dogs, cats, and other, and you want an entry widget that's just going to show dogs, then you'll select it. So that particular entry widget won't show anything else other than dogs. Or you can do dogs and cats. So you can mix and match, or you can just remove that filter altogether, and then we won't filter by that category. Now, the other thing that you can do here is you can always add more categories. And the way that that'll be done is through your form. So if I open up the form widget, much like you saw in the video, we already have the category field in here, and you can either add the choices here in this area or on the right-hand side. So we have dogs, cats, other. Now, if I want to change that other to, let's say fish. So now I've updated that category just instead of other, it will be fish. And then I can add another category of, now we can add other if I wanted to. So there's no limit to the number of categories that you can add to your form. And then it also, like we mentioned, allows you to filter based on categories on the back end. So especially in the situations of maybe you're not doing voting, but you're running a contest, whether it's a photo upload contest or a video contest, you can say, all right, I want to pick a winner for our category of best design or best video, because you could even do it where, hey, you can upload either a photo or you can upload a video. So if I were to change this category and say, okay, photo, video, and then we'll remove these additional categories that we don't need. Now you might say, well, how do we dictate one or the other? Well, if you make this field required and then you come up to your upload field, I can change this upload field so we can allow for 1 submission. So we'll just set that to 1. And then I can say, all right, it can do photos or videos. So it's up to my participant to say, okay, I want to upload a photo or I want to upload a video. And then they'll come down here and they'll tell you which one they uploaded. Now, obviously it'll be easy for you to know which one that they uploaded, but when it comes to selecting your winner, you'll be able to filter based on photos or based on video in the categories. So ultimately with these features, we're just kind of expanding your options on the type of contest you can run, or how you can make it easier for your participants to provide you the content, their information, whatever it might be. Because before we had these features, we had to have a form for category A and a form for category B and a form for category C. One of the disadvantages of that is it allowed your participants to enter into each individual category. Now, maybe that's something that you wanted to have happen, but if you only wanted to allow one entry, but have it based on a specific category, this now gives you that opportunity. I'm going to go up into the Q&A, make sure I'm tackling other questions. Do we need to use the 2.0 platform for these features? Yes. So really everything we're talking about, and really everything we're going to talk about just moving forward, any new features we add, any new updates to the platform, it's primarily going to be S2 campaigns. And then that's what we call it. So for any of you that have the ability to go from S1 to S2, I just encourage you to use S2 whenever possible, because that's where all those new updates, all the new features, that's where they're going to be. For those of you that are brand new to ShortStack, you don't have to worry about S1, because those previous options, we don't have those available anymore to brand new users. So Julie, yes, you'll want to use our S2 features, S2 templates for doing that. All right, so since we're in here, I also want to just touch on that tracking widget. So all you'd have to do is add the tracking widget. And as mentioned, we have the three options: Google Analytics, Google Analytics 4, Facebook Pixel, and then under setup, well, actually I should pick something first. So let's select Facebook Pixel, and then you have your Facebook Pixel ID. Just set that in there. You'll get that from Facebook. And then under events, you tell us what you want us to track. Very straightforward, very simple. Of course, you're always welcome to ask us questions about, I'm not quite sure, what that is. We'll be happy to answer that for you. Now, I kind of teased you guys with a brand new template. It is one that we're going to talk about in a little bit, again, in the next couple months, but just pretty excited to show it off. So as a thank you for joining us today, and some of you may have already seen it because it is available to our users in S2. So we're going to go to quizzes and games, and it's our puzzle game. So I'm not going to get into the very specifics about it because, like I said, you guys have access to it, but it's super fun. So all you'd have to do is hit start, and you as the ShortStack user can upload whatever image you want here. And then you're basically telling your users, hey, solve this puzzle as quickly as you can for a chance to win. And there we go. Now you'll see that there was that seconds being counted down. We'll record how fast they did it in their form. They fill out the form, they hit enter, and now you can, say, hey, the person that did this the fastest, you're the winner. Or you can just time it, have it be fun, and you can update whatever image you want there. You can make it more difficult by adding additional squares. You can also increase or decrease the time allowed to participate. So this is pretty fun. And this is one of our other goals, is to add more kind of gamified type templates like you see here. All right. Now I know I was talking about categories a lot, and I realized that I didn't really show you guys that in the entries area. So let me do that real quick. First, I'm going to go to lists. We're going to pick a list. Go back to Q&A real quick. Make sure. There we go. And let's go to here real quick. Make sure I'm not missing anything in chat. I have a question here from Michelle. Hey, Michelle. Can you do a quiz instead of a puzzle? Oh, you're saying like a time quiz? I like that idea. We don't have that available yet, but I bet there'd be an opportunity where we could add a timed feature to our knowledge quiz, because we already have the knowledge quiz, which allows you to ask one question at a time, and then you can give them a score at the end. So there could be potential where we could add a timed option to that as well. So not only would we record how quickly they took the quiz, but then also what their score is. So thank you, Michelle, for that fantastic recommendation. We will see what we can do about that. All right, so I'm in lists, and let's see, I'm just going to go trying to think if I have anything with categories in it. And to be honest, I'm not sure I do. So you know what? Let's just go back into entries so you can see all the entries. Because regardless if I have a list that has categories in it or not, you'll be able to filter it on the left-hand side. So if I come over here, you'll now see a category. And if I open this up, you just type in the actual category itself. And then, we'll filter the entries based on that. So in some situations, if you ran, 2 contests, both contests use the same type of category, you could type in the category name in here, and then we will filter based on both of those lists. Or if I do filter on a list, so let's go here. This one has 25 entries in it. I hit select. And then actually, you know what? I take that back. I do have something with a category in it. My apologies. So let's go here and we have this one. We'll hit select. So I have these 4 entries that you see here. And if I go to category, and I'm going to have to remember what the category was. It was, okay, so it's this right here. So what I just did there, I'm jumping around a lot. My apologies. I'm in the view entry area. And this over here on the right-hand side is all the information that we've collected from this particular individual. This right here is the category. So this icon, that represents our category icon. And they entered into this category, 100 pounds plus. Now, another little tidbit about ShortStack you may not be aware of is we have these filter icons on our entries. If you click on this filter icon, we'll take you back to the entries area, and we're going to filter all your entries based on that category. Now, this was the only one in that category, so that's why you don't see anything else. Now, if I go back into view details, I can also filter based on an email address. So if someone reached out to you and say, hey, let's see what all the entries are for this person, I can do that. Or the IP address, or this country, or associated with the list or the campaign. So that's not something that we really have flushed out too much. So for those of you on the call, hopefully you'll find that to be pretty handy. Well, perfect. Let me come up here. I don't see any more Q&A questions. So it seems like, hopefully you guys all have a good understanding of these new features. Again, I would highly encourage you, if you did want to utilize our category feature, the paging feature, I would utilize that category vote contest template, because we have a lot of that set up in there already, and we highlight it in the video. Now you might tell me, well, Adam, what if we don't want to do voting? What if we just want to use some of those features? That's perfectly fine. You can go into the builder once you've selected that template and it's opened up, and you can add and remove features that you don't need, or adding features that you do need. So you can start with a category vote template and then just turn it into a category contest. You can completely strip out the voting part altogether. And, typically you're going to be updating all of this copy anyways, because this is just an example of how this could be done. The likelihood that the copy you see here is exactly what you would want to use is probably pretty low. So you'd have to do some work on here anyways. So it's just easier, it's just easier to make the updates versus having to just start from scratch. All right. Well, with that, I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover, and it doesn't look like we have any more questions. Jessica, did you want to include anything else before we sign off?
Yep, really quick, I just wanted to plug our next training. So Adam briefly mentioned our tracking widget, and on March 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, we're going to be going over all of the ways that you can track data with ShortStack and in your ShortStack apps. So that's our tracking widget and our analytics and all the ways that you can capture data. So I hope that you can be there, because it'll be a good one for sure.
Perfect. Well, Jessica, as always, thank you for being my partner in crime.
Yeah, thank you, Adam.
Absolutely. And before, because I almost forgot, she wasn't here last time, but I just want to do a shout out to our number one fan, because, if she can make it, she does. Thank you, Amy, for joining us today. Really appreciate your loyalty to ShortStack. You're amazing. And you know what? Thank you, everybody, for joining us, because I know some of you have been joining us multiple times. You guys always bring great questions, and we just look forward to seeing what you build, how you use the platform, and helping you out whenever we can. And with that, hope you guys have a good rest of your day.